Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Angel, and it's been a very long time since I have questionably wanted to make a video, felt well enough to make a video. So Jose and me both had COVID and we are finally okay now. I have very faint residual like coughing slash like a little congestion, but it has been like 2 weeks now since we had COVID, and what it meant was that we were home together for like 2 weeks straight. He was able to be out sick from work, and I just worked from home for the majority of it. But I did notice while I was out sick, thankfully we had very mild cases, like it was really bad fever, really bad cough, congestion, all that stuff. So that I'm very grateful for. But my sickness-riddled, addled mind decided it was the perfect time to watch every video I could possibly find about crafting and sewing and pattern making. I wanted to show you some of the things that I made while I had COVID. Pretty much everything I've made in the last 2 weeks, starting with the thing that I decided from day one when I was sick that I was going to make kind of from scratch. The first thing I'm actually wearing right now, it is a crochet tank top. So this is gonna be the best I can do. It is, I've been wearing it all day, so it's quite worn, but it is a pretty basic tank top here. One note is that I do have quite a lot of excess room now because I've been wearing it all day, but it's a little bit higher in the back, and it goes down, let's pan us down, unfortunately. Goes down to like where my belly hits my hip, which is where I wanted it to hit. But in the front here, we have a little bit of like ruching, which I will explain in a moment. And then the arms go down a bit into a V. So some of the faults, we have a lot of extra space in here, especially now that I've been wearing it for a day or so. A lot of gaping. These are actually pretty secure top straps, which I was surprised about. But overall, it's literally just like 2 pieces that I did together, and then I had the 2 straps, which are connected up here. And then there is a piece of string that is allowing this to be kind of like bunched up here. So let me sit back down and we'll explain what happened. Number one, I will put up on the screen here the type of yarn that I use, which as I'm sitting here starting to sweat, it's an acrylic yarn and not the best choice for a top when it is like 95 degrees out. In my brain, while I had a 100-degree fever and the temperature was hitting 95 degrees outside, it all just came together and I was like, Angel, you can birth a miracle piece of clothing. And this was so much torture. This was probably one of the most difficult things I've ever made because I've never made a piece of clothing before. Well, no, scratch that. I've made this horrendous but also beautiful, but also horrendous sweater, but that I also didn't have a pattern for. The top parts here, where the straps attach, I realized that there was just too much room. It was too baggy in the top area. My stomach is much larger than my chest size, and so it just created like, I wanted it to be a box and then have straps pretty much. But what ended up happening is that if I do that, the shirt itself was big enough for my stomach and then needed to kind of go in for my top, my chest, and I didn't do that. So I had to do this scrunching where there's literally just a piece of yarn in there, kind of bunching the fabric together. The material, yarn, one would call it. So if I were gonna rate this out of 10, I'd probably say like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Because it's wearable, I wore it all day today, and only right now, as I'm in a room without ventilation, is it a little bit hot. Over time, I did improve upon these items that I made. So let me get the next item, which is another tank top. So here is the tank top. I've actually already washed and worn this, and it is a very simple tank top, much more appropriately fitted. And what I did with this one, since it is sewn, is I copied another tank top and I made a pattern from it. So it's literally 3 pieces of fabric sewn together, and it is pretty much an exact copy of another shirt that I have. And so this whole front is one. It's about the same length as the other one that I crocheted. And then the back, I don't know if you can tell, but there is a seam down the back in which that is 2 different pieces of fabric. And this one I'm in love with. I would give this a 9 out of 10 because I definitely need to work a bit more on my seams. So let me let me put on an even different shirt, a pajama top, and we can come back and I'll talk about the seams on this one. I have flipped this one out so you can kind of see what I'm working with the seams. So this is the back seam, in which I said that the whole back part is split. I do just have a raw edge here, and then I did a zigzag stitch on my sewing machine, and it seems to have held it pretty well. There is no like tearing of the fabric or anything, and I've washed it, like I said, pretty normally, so no concerns there. But the actual seam on the bottom, the hem, is where the majority of the problems are. So you'll see it doesn't even want to sit flat on here because I did double hems. I first went around and very roughly folded it up once and did a stitch along the edge, and then I folded that in one more time like that, and I did a second one so that it was a little cleaner. And so there are two seams along the hem. They're not perfect, and it is causing a bit of a ripple effect. I did that all the way around. I did that on the bottom of the tank top, which is what I'm showing you now. I also did this along the arm and the neck. And so up toward the top, that is the weird concerns that we have. So this is the inside of the strap, which is a little funky, and then the actual front neck as well. This should probably be a little lower. I don't know if you noticed when I was wearing it, but it is a little close to, oh sorry, this, which is the front of it, is a lot higher in the neck than I want it to be. Overall though, I think this one is probably one of my favorite pieces that I could make, because I have a lot of these tank tops from Old Navy and I wanted to just copy one of those patterns. After that, I've been following this account on Instagram for a while, and they had a shop update which actually posted today. They have been making these like triangle sock slash like small project bag. Republica Unicornia Yarns. It's Kathleen. She makes these gorgeous triangle bags, which she has them on her website right now. But I wanted one. Something about the odd shaped project bag really pulled me in. And so I made this one, and it is ghost. It's pink and white and it's ghost. And it is actually glow in the dark fabric. So I'm quite in love with her. So what it is it just has a zipper in the front, and I have another project that I'm working on in there, but it just has like a gray liner. And then just to match it entirely, I have like a little strap here. So if you ever wanted to like crochet on the go, I can use this for my bag. So this one was, this is a 10 out of 10. I got a pretty good color match on the zipper itself. And then obviously this is just the same fabric as what's on the inside. I'll insert some pictures here that I really messed up on the inner lining, but you really can't tell. Like, I know it's there, I know it's messed up, but what happened was that I had a lot of trouble with trying to figure out the measurement that I wanted my bag to be. And so I overcut things, and then I needed to patch them together, but it is virtually seamless on the inside. Like, I can't even find the seams in which I messed up anymore as I'm like poking around. But what I'm going to do, probably if I ever make another one, is I do want to have this the foam that I use for book sleeves in it. Right now I just have the old material I used to use for book sleeves, which is a fusible fleece, and it's very like soft, and I would want this back to be a little bit more rigid. So that's the only problem, but again, as it is, I still would consider it a 10 out of 10. And then the last project that I made is a pair of socks. I actually made socks the last time I was sick, and these socks I made right at the end of being sick. Like, I finished them a few days ago, right when I still was kind of getting over the congestion and the coughing. And when I made socks last time, they were these socks. I think I have a picture. I hope I'm not pointing at nothing, but they are super comfy, and Jose calls them my dick socks for what I would like to say obvious reasons. But those were made over Christmas when we rented a cabin, and we both got terribly sick. That time it was not COVID though, it was just a flu or a cold or something. And I had a lot of trouble making them match, so they are different sizes. But this time I looked up a pattern for tube socks so that they are just like one long tube with a cuff at the top and a point at the bottom, so I didn't have to worry about making the heel, which has some good and bad things. So I'll show you the first sock that I made. This one here is some odd colors. You'll notice that this brown stripe does not exist in the other one because the color of the yarn was a little messed up. So this theoretically is what they both should look like. And yeah, they are matching technically, just in a weird way. And this is the yarn that I used. It's a yarn that I had left over from Hobby Lobby, and it is a smaller yarn than what I'm used to, but these worked up really easily, and I would probably give these like an 8.5 or 9 out of 10, just because they are wearable. I do need to block them because they stretch a little bit over my heel, because obviously your ankle and heel area is larger than the rest of your foot theoretically, but overall, I think I did a really good job, and I made the first one, which is this weird one with the brown stripe, and then the second one I didn't even need a pattern for. Like, it's such an easy pattern that I was able to figure out on my own. So yeah, those are the things I made while I was sick with COVID. But I have patterns for some of them that I can post in the comments down below. So these two things I can post patterns for down below, because this one is a pretty well-known pattern that is just available in a lot of places here on YouTube, and then this one also was a really easy pattern that I got online free at youtube.com. So yeah, that's everything I made when I was sick. It's all gonna get good use. I'm just so excited that I was able to be a bit more creative this month, and it helped me find a lot of really cool creators that I'm trying to emulate. So I'm just trying to make more things that they're like suggesting, or things that they've made. I bought some new knitting needles because I actually had gotten rid of a bunch of my old metal ones because I just don't know how to knit. But I'm hoping that I'll be inspired again now that I've started making more things. Something else that I might want to do for June is I'm thinking of doing some sort of like June projects I want to finish, but that'll be a later video. I'm not going to talk about those here because I think this was kind of enough to talk about for one video. But I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've been working on anything, or if you've just been like hanging out. I would love to hear either way, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far in the video, leave me some sort of ghost or like creepy, scary, spooky emoji down in the comments, and I will see you next time.